I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all of you. I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank you for your prayers. I want to thank you for your emails. I want to thank you for your support. It has strengthened my spirit and it has anchored my soul, and so I want to thank you. But this is not about me. This is about all of us, and about a justice system which has been weaponized. A justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge. This justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge and a weapon against those individuals who simply did their job and who stood up for the rule of law. We stand with you. And a justice system which unfortunately is nothing being used as a vehicle of retribution. Yes. Yes. But my faith is strong. Yes. And my faith is, I have this belief in the justice system, in the rule of law, and I have a belief in America and all of its individuals who have stood with me, not only in New York, but all across this nation. Yes. 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 I've heard from just about every jurisdiction in this nation who have said, stand up and be tall. And never ever cow down or back down or break or bend. So there's no fear today. No fear. No fear. No fear. No fear. Because I believe that justice will rain down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. Preach. And I'm here to say that my work and my job and all that I do, all throughout my public career, I've stood up for the rights of New Yorkers and Americans, and I will not be deterred. That's a lie. And I will not be deterred. I will not be distracted. I will do my job each and every day, and that's why I'm headed back to New York, because there's work to be done standing up for the rule of law. God bless you and thank you all, and I appreciate you.
All right, wanted to play out those moments that happened outside of the courthouse as New York Attorney General Letitia James officially pleaded not guilty to federal bank fraud charges. So to talk a lot more about what we're really seeing and what happened there in the courtroom, I want to bring in former federal prosecutor and legal analyst Neama Rahmani. Neama, thanks so much for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. Very powerful words there from Tish James showing that she's trying to go all the way and fight this thing. Can you sort of explain what happened there in court today as she pleaded not guilty? Was this, of course, an expected move in this case?
Christina, you're absolutely right. A very defiant Letitia James outside of that courtroom, and we expected it. There's no way this case is going to plead. Expect to see a full-blown jury trial for many reasons. Obviously, look, she's a lawyer, she's an elected official, but it's not just about the potential of felony conviction and federal prison time. She has her political career ahead of her. So obviously, she's going to fight this at every step. There's legal arguments that her lawyer Abby Lowell is going to make. Obviously, there's factual arguments at trial, and there's the jury makeup as well that she's going to consider. But today's arraignment is what we expected. It's just typical in any federal court arraignment. The defendant is arised of the charges against them, and they enter a plea, not guilty. And the court sets a future hearing date. Sometimes there's issues of bond that are discussed, but obviously she's out on bond. So usually these proceedings are a mere formality, just the initial process to get everything going. And that's what happened here today.
And so I have to ask you, because we also have this statement up from her ex account saying, "Thank you for all your support. I have faith in the rule of law. I will continue my work protecting New Yorkers and Americans." But really, James has been very outspoken over this case. She's called it baseless at certain points. Where is she getting some of that idea from? Of course, we know that anyone who's accused of something usually tries to defend themselves in some way. But the baseless portion, can you sort of speak to why that's her sentiment?
Sure. And I try to stay in my legal lane. I'm not a political analyst, but obviously this whole case is political. I'm not naive. And, when it comes to the arguments that she's going to make, and the first argument is going to be that this is just a vindictive prosecution. Expect to see that motion, not just in this case, but the Comey case and John Bolton as well. Same lawyers representing both Bolton and Letitia James. So that argument is as follows, that she's being prosecuted because she filed a civil lawsuit against Donald Trump. That's the vindictive prosecution argument. Bolton, somewhat similar. He's being prosecuted because he's a vocal critic of the president. That's a selective prosecution argument. Those type of arguments are very difficult to win. They almost always lose. Trump himself made that same argument in his criminal cases, and he lost. Hunter Biden made those arguments. So even though there's politics in the law, as long as there's enough evidence to support the charges, the case is going to move forward. So we know that the defense is also going to challenge the appointment, interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan. Even if that motion is successful, it won't make the case go away. It'll just be another prosecutor who's assigned to the case. So going to the meat and potatoes, the merits of the case, Letitia James saying that this is all meritless and baseless. We got to look at the allegations themselves. Was this home in Virginia a secondary residence, or was it a rental property? That is the key fact in the case. Expect the defense to argue that this was a vacation home and that the relative was house sitting. Obviously, there was money exchange. It was an income property. That would be a misstatement, and likely a material misstatement. That's important in these bank fraud cases. Can't just be a lie. It has to be a material or an important one. The last important element, Christina, in these bank fraud cases is, unlike some other federal statutes, the lie or the misstatement or the fraud, it has to be willful. That means you have to know you're lying and really want to perpetuate a fraud. Can't be an innocent lie or a misrecollection or a misrepresentation. It really has to be knowing and willful. So expect the defense to make all those arguments, not just before trial, but during the jury trial here.
And Neama, I want to ask you, of course, you have been a former federal prosecutor, seeing some of these things move through the court system. Have you ever seen a situation where we've seen the president of the United States going up against a state attorney general? Is that something that's a common case where this gets brought into the legal side of things?
Never, Christina. And I've come on this show so many times and I said this is all unprecedented, but really there's no other word to describe this. You have the most powerful man in the world and one of the most powerful prosecutors in the United States that are going at it. It's really a clash of the legal titans. So certainly it's keeping me and you busy. There's plenty to talk about, but there's never been a moment in American history where the president of the United States is calling for the prosecution of the attorney general of one of the largest states in the country. Really unprecedented is the only word I can use to describe all this.
And before I let you go, Neama, I want to ask about Lindsay Halligan. You brought it up, saying that even if the motion that was filed in court today is ultimately, and she's removed from this case, does that affect her career in any sort of way? I'm just interested to see what happens next with this. They had to go through a number of prosecutors to get someone to actually bring this case against Letitia James.
Yeah, let's not forget Eric Siebert, the U.S. attorney, resigned rather than bring this case. There are other prosecutors in the Eastern District of Virginia who also resigned as well. Both this case and the Comey case, there was questions whether the cases should have been filed or not. Obviously, Lindsay Halligan comes in. She has no prosecution experience. The first case she ever presented to the grand jury was the Comey case, and she only got an indictment on 2 of the 3 charges. So I know that the defense is saying that her appointment was unlawful and that it violated the interim appointments. U.S. attorneys, of course, like other high-level DOJ officials, they have to be appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate. And obviously, Halligan has not been confirmed by the Senate. Expect the Senate, when they're back in session, to oppose her. So if she does get disqualified, it's certainly a bad look for her personally, but it's not going to derail this case. The case won't be dismissed as long as there's another prosecutor in the office and there is a career prosecutor who's willing to move forward with this indictment and jury trial.
All right, Neama Rahmani here to break down the very latest. Last thing here, though, a tentative trial date is set for January 26th. We're seeing some reports out there saying that the defense, the DOJ, is planning to call about 8 to 10 witnesses. How long would you expect a trial like this to sort of last, if that is the case?
So during today's hearing, Christina, lasted about half an hour or so. The prosecution said they would need 2 weeks. And the judge says, well, why? It's a simple fraud case. You're talking about one statement. You shouldn't need more than 5 days. So, somewhere between that 1 to 2 week mark. And with respect to that January trial date, we may get a trial this early.